Oh, yeah, shit. While I'm recording, I'm just gonna do my bank account information real quick.
Devon, why do you always do that?
Welcome back to Take a Walk Podcast. This is the beginning of a new sub-series in Take a Walk Podcast where we've been doing movie reviews lately, and now we're going to do show reviews. But these show reviews are going to be... I'm sorry?
What?
No,
What
please.
was that?
Go on.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Chill.
You kind of threw off my groove there.
All right. Well,
No, it's all right. It's okay.
Get back
No,
on the groove.
Start the podcast over.
You're good. No,
Listen.
We're good.
Do I have to
I can
turn you
salvage
into
this.
a llama and have
I can
like
sa-
a whole fucking like life lesson get proved, or can we just go back?
What the hell are you talking
So
about?
in this sub-series, we're going to be watching different TV shows, and there's a catch to it. At least one of us has seen each show, and the others have not, or at least one of the others have not. The reason we're doing this is to kind of, first off, just share with each other shows we really like, and also to kind of get different opinions on things we like, because don't live in an echo chamber, kids. Otherwise, you'll have one boring opinion. So for our first test subject of this series, we're taking a look at Steven Universe. It's a show that I really like, Devon pretty likes, and Sam has an opinion on it too.
I had never
There's an opinion
seen the
somewhere.
show prior to.
Correct.
When did we start the show? We started it a couple months ago, didn't we?
Yeah, I think...
Well, we started it years ago, and then
No, not
we
me.
continued it. Yeah,
No,
because
not
we tried
years.
It was
For
like
sure,
a year
not
ago.
years.
No.
'Cause we
I don't
showed
even
you
think
that
we did
for-
it after the road trip.
Yeah, it was definitely after the road trip.
Yeah, but we showed you like the first. That wasn't a couple of months ago, was it?
Yeah.
That was this summer.
Okay. Listen,
have no
time is an
concept of
enigma
time.
to me.
Yeah, I feel it. Anyway, so Steven Universe. For those of you who are not informed what Steven Universe is, go on Tumblr first off. Second off, is a show about
I
a
just
boy
shuddered.
who...
Did you say don't go on
I just
Tumblr or
shuddered.
go on Tumblr?
Go on Tumblr if you want to see what
No, don't
Steven
go on
Universe is.
Tumblr.
It's an animated TV show about a boy named Steven Universe who is so this is kind of hard to explain, but he's part alien, part human. His alien half came from his mother, and his human half came from his father, and he lives with three other aliens known as the Crystal Gems, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, and they protect the world from evil, I guess.
And if you're thinking aliens like from the movie Alien, you're 100% correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
look
they're a little
exactly
sexier
like
than that.
except they're all pink.
Yes. So, I'm sure there'll be pictures on screen of what the show is, so I don't have to explain what they look
No,
like.
burn them. Send them away. Thank you, Sam.
Sorry.
They're gone. And they're back.
And
No.
they're back. Welcome
Okay,
back.
wait, no.
Wow, Sam, way to give yourself more editing work.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you got to keep things interesting.
All right, fair enough. So that's the premise of the show. Oh, and each of them have different powers connected to their gem. So, for example, Pearl has a spear, Garnet has gauntlets, or I guess gauntlets, gloves, whatever.
I thought that was
and
just
Amethyst,
the weapon they used, not necessarily like.
well, the weapon they use, but it comes from their gem. Amethyst has a whip, and then Steven has a shield and other powers, like a bubble and other shit that I don't know if we've got into yet, so I'm not going to spoil.
And the power of being unimpressing.
Unimpressing?
Yes, I'm sure it's a word. Probably isn't.
Unimpressive.
Unimpressive.
That's probably more acceptable.
Devin's just like, nope, that's wrong.
No,
I had it right. Yeah.
actually, that is incorrect.
Yeah. Thanks, Webster's Dictionary. You don't know what you're talking about. We need to. Can we get Devin? Can you write a dictionary that's all words
God,
that you've
no.
made up?
Fuck no. It'd be a mess. It'd be worse than the actual English.
Piff is a
dictionary.
word, okay?
I'll write that dictionary.
Did you say if
Yeah.
is a word?
No,
Piff,
piff.
remember?
Piff. It is a word.
It is a word because you said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like ain't.
So-
all right, it's a word.
Steven Universe.
Ain't is not
So-
a word.
Yeah, it's
not.
is.
Ain't just a contraction.
No, that's what women feel when they're giving birth.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, it's okay. Or is that a contradiction?
The only reason I'm here is because I'm contracted into it.
I'm
contracted into it. I failed. All right, let's get back into the actual.
All right, let's just jump into it. So, Sam, you've never seen this show before.
That's correct.
You had different opinions than I did, which is good because it's what we need. So, let's go. Shut the fuck up, Discord.
Sorry.
Let's go into each character. We're gonna break down each character and talk about them, about their growth over the show, and what you think of them. How's that sound to start? Or do you want to do the highlights and lowlights first?
No, we can start with characters.
I feel like it's fair to mention that we've only gotten to season 1 with Sam.
Yes, this is just season 1.
Yes.
We're gonna go season by season.
Yeah, that'll probably be like.
I figured it was in the title,
description,
but I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because we hadn't mentioned it yet, and you're saying like the whole show, and I'm like, well, hold on.
So let's start with first character, just Steven Universe. He starts out in the show as a little chunky boy who that's kind of his punchline. Later changes pretty drastically, I think, to more of a someone who is trying to be what everyone expects him to be and train to become stronger so he can defend his friends and hometown. But man, he has a bit of a rough beginning, I won't lie. And even people who are big fans of the show agree that like he didn't start off fantastically. He's just kind of, I'm a little chubby kid and that's my joke. I mean, just down to the voice, it's pretty grating, but it picks up. I think for season 1, Steven, particularly in the second half, is a pretty strong character. I think he's got some pretty good lines, some pretty good moments, pretty emotional moments. But you do have to sit through early season 1 Steven, which is pretty obnoxious. Sam?
Yeah. Well, I was prepping to contradict you at every turn.
Damn.
But then you opened up with Steven at the beginning is not a very good character, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. One of my biggest beefs with the show right off the bat was I didn't feel like any of the characters were really characters. Steven felt like more of a caricature than a character. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I was actually going to point out that the essence of his character was innocent little fat boy. You know what I mean? I was
right, which we've had.
That's it. There wasn't anything more to it. So right off the bat, I was like, this is a pretty weak start.
Right.
And yet he gets some motivations later on, in that he actually wants to start helping the gems and taking on responsibility. He learns more about his mom and his past, so he gets a little bit of development throughout the first season,
which is important to any main character.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember specifics. What would you say is like? What is Steven's motivation in the first season?
In the first season or the first half of the first season?
Okay, well, we can skip the first half of the first season because at that point his motivation is just like be goofy boy.
And I'm actually going to tackle that real quick. I might have mentioned this before, but I need to tackle why he's so different at the beginning. I mentioned this before, but the beginning of the show, the creators had no they did not expect the show to be picked up because Cartoon Network was very harsh on them. So they were like, okay, let's just have a couple goofy episodes and see if this picks up. And then when it got to, I believe, Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem was when they started actually making momentum in a story. And then it was kind of back on track to being taken seriously. So anyway, Steven's whole focus is as he gets more glimpses of his mom, who his mom was the leader of the Crystal Gems, who are the main characters. And also they were a rebellion force for Earth because the homeworld gems were trying to destroy them, which we've, I think, touched upon a little bit. A little bit, not too much in this season, but we learned a lot more about that later, pretty soon actually. So he wants to unlock his powers fully so that he can defend the people that he cares about and defend his friends and defend his home. While also kind of even like, I think this is a big point for the whole show, but it's kind of starts up picking up in the beginning. Sometimes not even just through fighting and combat, but just through motivating his team. He has a lot of moments where he doesn't really fight. He just motivates the character who is fighting. Steven's a pretty good support class, I'd say.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to have a show where the main character is a support.
Well, he's important.
At least in the first season. I don't know what's going to turn out in later seasons, but like, he doesn't really do anything except talk up the other characters, which is fine. That's a purpose. It's unusual.
I think it's a pretty good, especially for a start, because the gems don't really want him to do anything because they keep trying to keep him away from the combat. And then here's one episode, for example, Coach Steven, which is the one where Garnet and Amethyst fuse into Sugilite and they start fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And Pearl has to stop it, but she feels like she can't, so Steven's got to push Pearl up to finish the fight. And I think that's an important part of his character, which I think is respectable. One of my favorite lines, actually, from him in the early seasons, or in season 1 rather, was, let me see if I can find the right episode. I'll get to that one later. I think it's in The Message, where all the gems are kind of huddled around, and the spaceship is coming towards Earth, and they're like, we're kind of freaking out here. Like, we're scared. We don't know what's going to happen. And how Stevens goes, yeah, that's fine. We've been scared before, and we still did it. So let's just be scared for a moment because we don't know what's coming, and then we'll deal with it. I think that's, in my opinion, a pretty cool take on it. Because normally it'd just be like, we have to start fighting now, but like just to take a moment to be like, yes, this is scary, but we can get through this. I think it's a pretty cool lesson.
That's one of the things I like about Steven's character is that he does motivate and he does support the other characters. I'm not so sure. I think it's interesting that they tried to do that with the main character. That's not usually the purpose of the main character, right? The main character usually isn't the heart of the team. They're the leader of the team, right? They're doing things. And most of what Steven manages to accomplish in the first season is to get people into trouble or get himself into trouble because he can't actually do anything. So his role as support is important, but I'm not sure it works so well as a main character, at least at the start, because he can't actually do anything productive except for support the other characters who actually do things. You see what I mean? Yeah,
and I think that's kind of the point. Because, like, he's so far behind the others that he needs to catch up now. Did I go through, or did I get cut off?
Yeah, no, I heard you.
I went through.
Okay. Sorry, we're recording this over Discord, so we might have some issues.
Devon, what do you think about it?
I don't know. I'm not really huge on dealing with like archetypes of characters or like what they should or shouldn't do.
Sure.
Because I honestly just think that if a character's good, they're going to be good no matter what you do with them. But with Steven specifically, I think the only reason I don't really like him is because he's kind of set up as this character that, like, first off, okay, so they have this character as like this, like, almost guru of a child. Like, he's often like speaking wisdom way more often than like even like the adults of the show.
When it's sort of stated that he's supposed to be stupid.
Yeah, which is fine because you can kind of get this childhood you see sometimes like he gives it away, or he does it too much almost. He's almost too nice. See him as like a paladin, you know. Maybe he's doing the thing as like a for the good or the good intentions, but might not necessarily be the best option. Like Lapis, like, okay, what if she had straight up just like, what if she was working with like the gems, like, or not the gems, the homeworld, you know? You're taking in somebody who like can obviously like destroy a lot of things, give away, bring the homeworld back to the Earth. So there's situations like, and I can't think of an exact situation, but there's situations where he is too like nice and bad things end up happening because of that. But I'm not really huge, or I don't really know where that is in the seasons. I don't want to be spoiling anything for Sam. But
No, we're caught up.
No. Like,
or rather, like, you're
like,
not spoiling anything.
Yeah, like, I don't want to give examples and then go, oh shit, that hasn't happened yet. You know?
Oh, right.
But the one thing that does bother me is sometimes he'll be like, the show will portray him in that light. It's like, oh, well, he's this kind of child and he kind of sees everything in this good natural light, so he's right always. But a lot of the, or there's some definite times when he chooses wrong, or like he does something wrong or something like that, and the show still portrays that as like, okay,
the good thing.
Well, it's still the good thing, and it's like, but it's not, like, that's not even like that great of a lesson. Like, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up later when we go into highlights and lowlights, but one of the things that bothers me is that people do kind of dumb things and then just kind of get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that later, so I won't go into that now with Steven's character, but I know what you mean.
I think it is kind of interesting with Steven because he goes between, he's in this weird limbo of childlike, like, mist in his, like, glow in his eye, to more wise than you'd expect. Another one of my favorite Steven lines is in Rose's Scabbard, which is one of my favorite episodes of all time, where Pearl is being really hard on herself and she's missing, which we'll get to Pearl later, probably next. Pearl is really missing Rose Quartz, who was Steven's mom. And you know what, let me just throw this out. Steven is a part of his mom, sort of. So the way it worked is because Steven's mom is a gem, she couldn't reproduce like humans do, so she had to give up her form to become Steven, but it's a new person. It's hard to explain. This is the best you're going to get.
It's basically, isn't it like sort of it's a new identity, but same gem, right?
Yes.
Same gemstone, different identity.
Right.
Gotcha.
So Pearl goes, I wonder if she can still see me through your eyes, what would she say? And he just hugs her and goes, well, I think you're pretty cool. And that's such a child line, but it's so like real of what like a kid would probably say in something like that, you know? Like,
yeah, that is, because Steven's like, what, like 10?
At this point in the show, he is 11?
All right, well,
11 or 12.
But yeah, you're right. He's just a kid.
Right.
So like when he says something that sounds like a kid would say it, then I can appreciate that.
I do have to say they do a very good job of portraying that.
That
he's like a kid. Yeah. He kind of, what is the word? Like, doesn't know very well certain things. I don't know. I'm blanking on the
naive.
Word. Naive.
He's very naive, yeah. Sometimes he seems like he's more naive than he usually normally is, which is kind of a bothersome. Like when the plot needs him to be more naive, he is. But
yeah,
you know,
that is one thing that really bothers me. I think that's a later point I want to get into, though, not with Steven's character, but It's kind of a Steven's character, but I think I'll talk about it when Sam talks about his thing that he mentioned.
The highlights and lowlights.
Yeah.
Let's jump into Pearl's character then.
All right, Pearl. Pearl, season 1 Pearl at least, is not one of my favorite characters. She becomes it later, but we'll get to that when we get through the other seasons. Pearl, her whole character is she fought with the rebellion. She's one of the first members of the rebellion. She was loyal to Rose Quartz for her whole life, for thousands of years, because gems live for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, Rose just disappears on her, and she felt lost. And now she has to protect Steven, who is what she wanted. She wanted Steven to be born, and now Pearl has to fulfill Rose's wishes and protect Steven. Pearl isn't always thrilled about that, but she is very protective of Steven. Possibly for selfish reasons, and possibly just because she cares about him.
Kind of shows the light of both.
Yeah, you get a little bits of both. There's one episode, I don't remember what season it's in, that really goes into that theorem, but we're not there yet. Pearl is emotionally charged. She's very stubborn. She is very prudish, but she's also very loyal to her cause. And she is, I think, emotionally charged is the best way to say it. I think I nailed it with emotionally charged.
Oh, well, don't pat yourself on the back too hard there.
Okay, well,
I think I not to brag, but I think I pretty much hit the nail directly on the head right there.
Well, what would you say? Would you say there's a better word to describe Pearl?
No.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that's pretty much Pearl's character.
She's kind of the mom of the series.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Season 1, at least for Pearl, I like her a lot, and I also like to hate her, because there's some moments where you just really fucking hate her. And I think
she does a lot of criticizing.
Yes. I think the point that they're trying to get across, especially in her early arc, is you're supposed to, like, the implied reaction that I think the writers are trying to get from the audience is they want you to sympathize with her and understand what she's going through and understand why she's doing the things that she's doing, but never agree with it. Because the way that she is carrying herself is very unhealthy, and it shows that. And part of her arc that we're going to see as it goes along is how she overcomes that.
Yeah, well,
Sam?
If that was the intent of the writers, to make you not agree with Pearl, then they're doing a good job of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because okay, so in Rose's Scabbard specifically, that was just the first one that comes to mind because her most egregious offense is in that episode.
Yes.
Because she straight up is about to let Steven fall to his death.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you?
He chases after her, and then he like tries to jump up after her, and he falls short, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then she just like fucking watches. And
I'm no. Well, even worse, she looks over and then
this
goes
kid
back.
Turns around.
Die.
Yeah.
And you were just gonna let that happen. So it's like what's going on is that Pearl is grieving. That's what she's doing.
Right.
I thought you said griefing for a second. I'm like, what the fuck?
She's just trolling.
Yeah, she's just trolling Steven, man. Oh, you fall to your death? Oh, you can't pull yourself up? Oh, is that a shame?
She's just playing around.
Yeah.
No, she's grieving, right? She's a damaged character. But
yes,
you understand why she's upset, but you don't agree with the things that she does as a result. Like, let Steven almost die.
Right. And you can kind of tell with her, though. Sorry.
It's like he would have died had not the plot demanded that he survive.
Right.
Because she straight up just watched.
Yeah.
Well, I think... Does it mention later that Steven... The reason why he's like so strong... Because he's obviously... He looks a little tubby, a little weak. But they mention it later that he can actually like straight up just lift shit up. Like,
we're not there yet.
Huge heavy... Not there yet?
Not there yet, no.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
But that might explain a little bit.
Yeah, he's certainly stronger than his age
Yeah.
would normally allow, but he does have powered by a super gem, so. Anyway, I think another point of Pearl is in On the Run, which is more of an Amethyst heavy episode, but she does have moments in there where she's clearly trying to keep Steven out of danger. And in episodes like even like The Test or several episodes, she's always trying to keep him away from the fight. I don't know where I was going with this, but I started talking and then I'm like, wait, where is this going? She's always protecting. She's clearly like, she gives a shit, but like, she doesn't give a shit sometimes when she's struggling, you know? Like, when she's struggling, it's got to be about her. When other people are struggling, she'll care, but it's at a time where she's struggling.
That's kind of why I like Pearl, because it shows... Because throughout even from the start of the show, it's like showing Pearl as the person who helps people, who like is the wise person that somebody goes to. And I think later on that ends up kind of becoming Garnet a little bit, but even then it shows, which I don't think we've gone there, but it shows even Garnet isn't like the person to go to. And it kind of starts with Pearl but ends up going with Garnet, but then again, that's later episodes. But it starts as like Pearl's this person, this wise person you can go to. Steven is always kind of like getting like help from her. But then it turns around and it's like, well, she's having problems too. And then Steven helps her kind of through those problems a bit. So it's like this lesson of like, hey, everyone needs help. Even the people who like are giving help need help. Like, so it doesn't center it into like, this character does this, because it shows like, well, this character is also struggling with it. Even though that they're known for that and that's what they do, they're struggling with too. Like, normally I feel like it would be a little more hidden, but in this show it's more like, yeah, I'll let Steven die because I'm sad. But I still think it's done very well.
I think even Amethyst kind of hits on that in Rose's Scabbard, when Pearl is like, none of you understand what I'm going through. And Amethyst's like, you're not the only one who misses her.
Yeah.
Because like clearly other characters are grieving, just differently.
Yeah. Well, that always made me think that Pearl is a bit selfish.
Yes,
self-centered, because she's not really caring what the other people are thinking, because she's more concerned with how she's affected by her grief. Which I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that.
Maybe later episodes will change things around, but you know. Is that everything on Pearl?
Yeah. Who's next?
All right, let's go Garnet, because there's not a lot to say about Garnet, to be honest.
I was gonna say season 1 Garnet, like she doesn't say or do much.
Yeah, season 1 Garnet's pretty quiet. She's kind of just the one who punches shit.
Yeah, if every character starts out as more of a caricature, more, just what word am I trying to think of?
Can we actually pause real quick? Sorry, we're back in it.
What was I saying?
Garnet. That
the characters don't feel like characters. They feel like models of characters. So,
yeah.
That if everyone starts out like that, Garnet stays like that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't really have that much development in the first season.
Right. And she kind of gets more later on, but overall, she's pretty much the core of the group, the one that kind of sticks around. Yeah. We do have a twist about her in the last episode of the season, where it turns out that she was a fusion, which fusion is a thing that two gems can do. When they're perfectly compatible, they can become like a super fusion, which is like a super gem that is a mix of both their powers. Though as it kind of explains throughout the show, a fusion is not just two people becoming one. It's two people creating a new person. Which I'll talk more about that when I talk about another character. Yeah, we find out that she is the fusion of Ruby and Sapphire. and they are two gems who are romantically involved, and they stay fused pretty much permanently, which is a very rare thing. We go into that on like the reasons why pretty shortly, but
I was gonna say, doesn't it? I could be remembering wrong. Doesn't it like kind of take some energy to keep together?
yep. But
So do they like separate every so often?
we'd get into that.
Okay. I'm asking because I honestly don't remember.
Right. So yeah, Garnet's her whole thing is pretty much just like, she's just the core of the group. She stays
Quiet
pretty
leader.
flat. Yeah. One thing about her that I really like is the way they handle her future vision, because including future vision in a character, especially in a show like this, can completely break your show. And what I like the way that they handle it is, it's not you see what's going to happen, it's you see several possibilities. As long as you look into it, you can see several possibilities and their outcomes, and it's up to you to decide which one is the one that you want to go through. There are times where that backfires on her, and there are times where it does work out, but I like that it's not like super overpowered.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there was only like one option, then she would be
Right.
way too OP, because she could just prevent all the bad things that could possibly happen.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Well, she would at least know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
On that, there's actually really, I don't know if you caught it, Sam. There's a really nice touch that in Jailbreak, because Sapphire is the one who inherits the future vision, and when Ruby's around trying to find her, Ruby goes, I can't see. It's because she lost her future vision and she's not used to that.
Huh. No, I didn't really catch that.
I love little touches like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to say about Garnet. Let's move on to Sam's favorite character.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah. Sadie. No. Amethyst.
Frybo?
Frybo. Let's talk about
Sadie's
Frybo.
no saint either. But
Sadie's no saint,
really-
but yeah.
I really
Maybe we'll talk
don't
about her
like
later.
Amethyst.
Amethyst.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Amethyst's mission statement pretty much is kind of unclear in the beginning of the show, but the overall thing is she's pretty much fighting because she doesn't really know what else to do. That's kind of her thing, at least in the beginning. She is obnoxious. She is reckless, and it's clear that she has good intentions, but doesn't really see any responsibility to any of her actions, which Pearl hounds her on several times. Sometimes it takes a toll on her, like in On the Run, where she expresses that she's frustrated because she never really asked to be in this. She was never asked to be in this position. She just kind of is, and now she's just doing what she has to, and she doesn't want to do any of this shit, but she's being forced into it, and now she just has to, make the best of it. But she does have a bond with all the characters. Different forms of love, but forms all the way. She certainly has a lot of episodes where she's definitely in the wrong and she doesn't get reprimanded as much as she should have, but there's no but to that, actually. She should have been reprimanded more.
Yeah.
I still think, of course we go further into her development as the show goes on, but in the beginning she's kind of illustrated as someone who is very reckless and irresponsible, who clearly has ambitions, but they don't line up with what everyone else needs hers to be. So she does what she can and wants to do.
Yeah. I'll just say all the things that I don't like about her character are because she does things and gets away with it. So she's reckless and actively throughout the show, pretty regularly throughout the episodes, makes everyone in a worse position than they were before, and puts people in danger, and then doesn't appear to show any remorse about it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, if somebody is foolish and does something stupid and then feels bad about it, that's fine. But if somebody is foolish and does something bad and then shows no remorse,
can you give an example?
Slightest, oh God, there's so many episodes.
Because I can't if you can't.
Happens. If you've got an example off the top of your head.
It's the one with the little sand device. Where she was told to watch it and then she just didn't. And then it started building the castles again.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just like, Pearl's like, what did you do? And Amethyst is like,
It's tough to remember big things because a lot of what she does is small things.
Right.
Like in the episode, and then it just moves right past it. I'm like, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
One of my least favorite episodes was one of the episodes towards the beginning.
Fair.
What's that one? Tiger Millionaire, where they do the wrestling thing.
That's not a very good one.
I hated that episode right off the bat because she uses her powers to overpower humans and then just like laughs about it. I'm like, that's not okay.
Right.
That's not a good lesson. Like, if you have powers, go ahead and use them to overpower anybody else, and then everyone else will apologize to you for reprimanding you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the hell was the lesson of that episode?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
And I know that was an early episode, and that she does get more development later on. Like, it evolves, but that's kind of the theme that underlies all of her character, is that she doesn't show remorse, and she doesn't feel bad about putting other people in danger or actually hurting other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't sympathize with her in the slightest.
Yeah, I think the only lesson I learned from that the episode was that tigers need to be taxed more.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Tigers are getting away with shit. They have a fucking Netflix documentary now.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
My buddy keeps trying to get me to watch that.
I wouldn't
bother.
waste your time.
I watched it. Don't bother.
It's like, it's
You
amazing.
did watch it?
I'm like, how amazing can it be?
All I hear is it's just a bunch of shitty people doing shitty things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
And
entire...
then tigers are somehow involved.
Wait a minute. Shitty people doing shitty things?
Yeah.
Are we talking about Amethyst?
Yeah. No.
It's a connection.
Dude,
They're the
Amethyst
same.
is Carol Baskin.
It's all symbolism. Oh, that's why he likes it. Never mind. If she's in there.
Shall we move on to the next character?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we've kind of gone through the main four, but there's still some side characters that you want to tackle. Connie. Connie is Steven's human best friend, who is a very reserved, studious girl who it's kind of shown that her parents can be pretty strict, so she's very dedicated to her studies, but she also wants to learn how to... Wait, that's season 2. We started season 2.
Yeah.
So we have a little bits of it. No, she... I guess she doesn't really want to do anything yet, but have a friend. We don't have a whole lot of...
Have a friend.
We don't have a whole lot of Connie episodes in season 1. One of the most important ones, however, is... let's see if I can find it. Alone Together, where Steven, while hanging out with Connie, ends up accidentally fusing with her, which before was thought to be unheard of and impossible, but because he's half gem, half human, he's able to fuse with a human. And we kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to be in Connie's world. Some of the imagery in that episode that demonstrates anxiety is really powerful, I feel, and some of the dialogue that they go through is really powerful. I think that's a really good episode for Connie. For the most part, she doesn't have a lot of fantastic ones in this season.
I was gonna say it's more really like season 2 and on.
Yeah, she doesn't really do anything
really
in season
happens.
1. I still like her, because she's just there to be Steven's friend at the
Right.
start, which is fine for a character who is a side character.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to have complex motivations or anything to serve a function in a story.
Right.
And I feel like she serves her purpose perfectly fine.
I also liked how like she's also kind of there to fix some of like Steven's more silly moments. I'm not sure if that's season 1 or later on, but
Both.
okay, both, yeah, all right. But I don't know. She's almost like to the like, let's do this crazy idea. And it's like, okay, well, let's think about this for a second. And
Yeah.
it's like it kind of fixes some of the problems I was having with Steven. So
She's a good foil for him.
yes.
A foil that he would willingly listen to, unlike sometimes the gems. Yeah, Connie is pretty inoffensive. There's not a lot of bad things you can say about Connie, but also not a lot of fantastic things we can say yet. She's kind of there, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, good character.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know how many more
wears
characters
glasses?
we want to. Well, wears glasses for some of it.
Yeah.
Then her vision gets healed.
And then she fakes wearing glasses.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know how many more characters you want to tackle. Sam, is there any characters that really stand out to you that you did want to talk about?
I mean, if we're going into minor characters, then we might as well go into highlights and lowlights, because
Right.
one of the highlights is also one of the characters.
I know who you're going with.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Highlight of the first season, episodes 25 and 26, were Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem. That's the episodes with Lapis Lazuli.
Well, Lapis Lazuli, but you know, who's paying attention?
Whatever.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
I always said Lazuli. Is that wrong?
I always said that too, and then the
yeah.
show said Lapis Lazuli. I'm like, okay,
No, it's Lapis.
yeah,
All right, we'll just call it Lapis. And then
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about it.
It's pronounced lasagna.
yeah, yeah. Idiot.
Gosh,
I didn't realize Garfield was in this show.
He hates Monday.
I hate when I'm on that stage.
I give him a goddamn stenchilada. Anyway,
I liked
Anyway.
I liked the episodes with Lapis so much that at the time I considered her to be the only actual character in the show with an actual personality and motivations. So that's how far above the rest that she stands out to me.
and she's in what, 6 episodes?
If that, she's in those two, and then isn't the next time she reappears when she tries to send them the message?
Yeah, so she's in The Message, and then she's in The Return, and she's in Jailbreak.
Yeah. So she's in 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd say those last 3, she's only there for like a scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I fucking love Lapis for a multitude of reasons. I think her introduction was the point in the show where I think people watching would be like, oh shit, because she comes into the show and she becomes friends with Steven, and then she meets the other crystal gems, and she goes, why are you friends with them? And then freaks out and leaves and tries to go back to Homeworld. And then in Ocean Gem, they have to fight some of her like water creations because she can control water. She tries to they have to fight her ocean creations, and then Steven gets up to her, heals her because he has healing powers. I'm not tackling every single plot point. I'm sorry. Like, watch the show.
Yes, he can also detect if somebody has typed on a PC.
Yes, he also can hear rabbits all the way across the world.
Yeah. He can also taste sound.
Yes, we go into that in
we're
season
not
7.
Go into that.
Yeah. So there's 6 seasons of the show.
You know what's funny is that like the show is so ridiculous that any of the things you just said could have happened in later seasons.
I kind of want to like name like 4 things and like have 2 of them be real.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spoil it. So anyway, so she gets healed and then she just leaves. No explanation. She just leaves. And I think the reason that's such an important like way to start her character is because she comes in, you don't know where she came from, you don't know what she's doing or what her goal is, and you don't know why she just questioned or brought question into the crystal gems. Like, because I feel like before, no one watching would have any reason to be like, there's something up with these guys. They're the good guys, you know, that've been the focus of the show. And now that gets put into question, I feel like it leaves, and like it doesn't get answered, it leaves a lot of potential for the future. A lot of mystery with the show, which I think, especially season 2 and especially season 5, does really good shit with mystery shit. So, Sam, if mystery shit intrigues you, I think you're gonna like season 2 and 5 for sure.
Well, what I liked about this 2-parter, where she appears, it was the start of an actual plot, like continuous plot that's happening.
Right.
I mean, the first 20 episodes or so were kind of dedicated to world building, which is fine, but it felt really slow.
Yes, and we skipped some episodes.
We skipped a bunch of episodes, and the episodes go by really fast, but it still felt kind of way too slow.
Right.
So there's an actual plot now, which is like, who is Lapis? Why did she leave? Where did she go? Where else is there to go?
Cotton Eye Joe.
Right, Cotton Eye Joe.
Continue.
And what happens when she comes back, if she comes back? And who else is out there? Like, it opens a lot of questions. So there's a plot. But I also liked her character introduction. I thought it was the first genuine, I don't want to say it was the first character introduction because other characters were technically introduced, but there wasn't anything flashy about it. They just kind of showed up.
Right.
Or appeared. And Lappy's, the entire first episode of that 2-parter was dedicated to bringing her character out of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And then she leaves because she's upset because she's been imprisoned in a mirror for like, I don't know, thousands of years. Obviously, she's going to be upset.
We don't know who put her there either.
So, yeah, okay, we don't know who put her there. I thought it was the gems.
Yeah, it kind of says it was the gems.
It implies that they imprisoned her there, which is why she's upset.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if we got that little clip.
And it's kind of interesting because, like you were saying, it sows the seed of doubt. Because it's not just like, oh, well, maybe they're the bad guys. It's literally like, okay, well, they imprisoned this person.
And she seems innocent.
She seems innocent, and they also, like, they still want to keep her imprisoned, no matter what Steven says, no matter what she says, and no matter what's going on. And they don't want to answer why. And I think that is a very critical point. That's, I think, very well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, since you're probably all too afraid to say it, she's fucking cute. Okay, for a fucking blue alien girl, she's cute. I said
I'm not afraid to say it. I figured that was implied.
She's fucking cute as hell.
I was thinking like, I should say this, and then I was like, Kyle will say this, and then you said it.
You're welcome. She's cute as hell. But yes, then she does come back in the message to try to warn Steven that something big is coming, and then something big comes.
Which was another big plus to her character, that
yes,
she actually warns the other characters that something bad is going to happen.
You gotta hand it to him. That the ship design's pretty good.
Nice.
The hand.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a little laugh track in there.
Just put like a.
Put that. Yeah.
I'll record separately me just going like,
That
but
was
like
good,
really
man.
distant.
It's just like a.
Yeah, it's like a distant.
Like he's like way
I
back.
got it.
It's the one guy.
Just put a distant Ryan McGee laugh.
Okay.
Anyway, in the realm of highlights, the return and jailbreak are really fucking good. Because it introduces 2 new threats, and I want to quickly go in on Jasper, which Sam, you know which one Jasper is?
Yeah, she's the big tough one.
Okay, cool. Just making sure you remember, because
Profile.
she, I think her introduction is really strong too, because she comes in and in 2 seconds she defeats the strongest member of the party.
Yeah.
I think that's a fucking great way to introduce her.
That is pretty cool.
Because that... Would you argue that Jasper is the Raditz? She comes in, kills like one of the biggest, most powerful characters, and then gets her ass beat, but you know.
Like literally less than 1 episode later.
Right.
I think it is 1 episode later. I don't think it's the same episode.
It's the next episode, yeah.
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 I kind of didn't get that, to be honest with you. Because she absolutely demolishes, like, everyone. Captures... Did she capture everybody, or was it just Steven and...
No, it was everyone.
Yeah, it was... Okay. So she comes in, flattens everybody, and then captures them. And then Garnet beats her with the power of song.
So, I can explain why. If you don't mind, Kyle.
Go for it.
So basically, they have been away from Homeworld for so long that technology has actually evolved. You'll notice how she beat her. She actually zapped her with like a little device, and it separated her. That didn't exist when they were in Homeworld. Like, that's something new. And it was also like kind of a surprise attack, so she wasn't sure what to expect, and kind of broke her apart. But then on the ship, like the first thing she does is break that device that she used. When she beats Jasper. So she knows what Jasper has. She can take her out.
Okay.
That's my thought behind it.
But doesn't it sort of discredit Jasper's character to introduce her as an enormous threat and then take her out in the next episode?
Is she taken out yet?
Well, she gets flattened by Garnet.
I don't know. She still beats the shit out of Garnet. Garnet just gets like 2 lucky hits in and then wins.
Yeah. Honestly, like, she like just throws her against the fucking electric battery of the ship.
Even after that, after the ship fucking explodes on her, she gets back up.
I do think that fight. I've honestly always said that fight is a little.
It's hokey.
I mean, even when we watched it, Kyle, I was like, I hate how it's like she's getting her ass beat, and then all of a sudden she's like kicking ass. But if you really do watch it, it's not that close of a fight, or it's not that like one side of a fight. Like Garnet, I think, does get her ass beat like the entire time. She's evading well, but that's really all she's doing. But yeah, I think the first fight when like Jasper comes in, takes out Garnet right from the start, I think that's a great entrance. The whole exit, I'm not sure, but you can also argue that there was a whole thing with the lapis that. I think that's a really strong moment, and that becomes a stronger moment later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's so. I think it's worth it for that. But I do agree with you on a little bit that going from that to kind of getting beat is a little weird.
Yeah, I thought it would have been fine if there was some time and progression. Mm-hmm. But it was literally 1 episode later. I was like, I don't know about that.
Well, again, she wasn't even really beat. Like, she gets back up, and she's ready to fight again. And she was gonna get Lapis to fuse with her to stomp her even further. But But then, Lapis says, nah, and just drags her to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, Lapis saves the day. Another point for Lapis.
Fucking snaps for Lapis. Yeah. One snap.
Well, that was weird.
What?
Well, the audio, like, spiked, and it was just this little bit of audio. But then as the track continued, it, like, spread out.
Like my legs. Sorry, that was vulgar.
Yeah, that was wrong.
That was really
You shouldn't have done
inappropriate. I'm
that.
so sorry.
I can't believe you've done that. Anyway.
Oh, fuck.
What are we doing?
So, yeah. Sam, any other highlights you want to tackle?
Highlights were few and far between, to be honest with you.
That's okay.
Yikes.
I thought, for the most part, the show was fine at best. to be completely honest with you. I thought there were a lot more lowlights than highlights.
I think once we get through it all, you'll learn to appreciate the older episodes more.
I would disagree.
I would disagree again.
You've been awarded one yike.
Yep. Because there's a lot of shit that, like, while I'm watching, I'm noticing that I didn't notice in the beginning that comes back later on, like little touches, and that's the kind of stuff that I really like. So, yeah. If you want to tackle some lowlights, I'll try to dispute you or agree with you.
Lowlights, most of the first half.
Fair.
Up through episode 25, where Lapis comes in.
Let me actually look at that. I have this episode list.
I think there's still some good episodes in that
I was going to say,
group.
hold on.
Let me see. Let me look at the episodes real quick.
Giant Woman's okay. I think Steven the Sword Fighter is pretty good.
Yeah, Steven the Sword Fighter was fine.
Coach Steven's okay.
To look for any good ones.
An Indirect Kiss is pretty good.
I was gonna say, how many are there? There's 52.
What was...
So 26.
Wait, what was an Indirect Kiss?
That was the one where Amethyst cracks her gem, so they have to go to the fountain to heal it, and the fountain gets blocked.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was
I
a pretty
wouldn't
good
say
one.
It was a good one.
Yeah. I think I was enjoying Amethyst being injured too much.
It had some insight on some of Steven's anxieties, which I think is good character building for him.
Does Lion 2, the movie, is Lion in that episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good episode.
Lion 3 straight to video is a very good one.
Anything with anything with a a character that just not caring about the entire series, is just good.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Sam's like, I can really relate to this character. He just doesn't give a shit about anything that's going on right now.
Looking back at some of these other episodes, Space Race is one I want to point out when it comes to Pearl's character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that season 1?
That was another one.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize. I was actually going to talk about that episode
Because she tries
earlier when we were talking about Pearl, but I didn't because I thought it was later on.
She tries to take Steven off planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're going to just be in space for like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Steven's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another point knocked off of Pearl's character here.
Well, she wanted to do it because that's what she wants. And she's kind of a selfish bitch. Especially in the beginning. Fuck, I'm gonna burp. Okay.
Don't do it.
No, I'm alright.
Okay.
So no like specific lowlights.
I don't know, because a lot of the episodes weren't super memorable, but general lowlight, a theme for a lot of the episodes is what I mentioned earlier with Amethyst and again with Pearl. Is just characters doing things that are clearly not cool, and genuinely put other people in danger or make somebody else worse off, and then the show, not even just the characters necessarily, but the show itself doesn't reprimand them. And we're talking about, this is a cartoon show. It's clearly directed at kids, right? I feel like a show like that has a responsibility to try to teach good lessons.
Mm-hmm.
At least a lot of the shows that I grew up with and that I liked were good because they taught you good lessons. Like, you could go back now as an adult and watch the episode and think to yourself, that's a good lesson to teach a kid. And a lot of the episodes were straight up the opposite of a good lesson.
I think
because
later
characters do
episodes
bad
have
things
really
and
good
they
lessons.
don't get their comeuppance for it. A prime example. I was gonna talk about this one earlier because you mentioned Sadie, but the episode where they all get stranded on the island, where Sadie intentionally strands them on the island and almost starves everyone to death, and then and then they're mad at her for a second, but then what does she do?
she kills the monster.
She kills the monster, and then they leave, and everyone's just cool with the fact that Sadie stranded them on an island for days at a time and could have had them all killed.
I think it's really... The problem is I want to just brush it off and say cartoon logic, but that one's kind of hard.
Well, like, there's a lot of that. That was one of the particularly bad examples.
Right.
Or good examples, I guess, of people doing bad things and getting away with it. But, like, there's a lot of little things in the show where somebody does something stupid, and then everyone just kind of is cool with it. I'm like, that's not cool, though.
Right.
That's the opposite of cool.
Yeah. That is uncool.
It's unlegit.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on.
Holding.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna make a joke here, and I still am, but so really, I mean, all these downsides, I can kind of agree with, but can we just agree that they can all be taken away, because like, just for the simple fact it was all worth it, for literally every line that Buck Dewey says.
I love Buck
Can
Dewey.
we agree with that? Can we agree with that? Like,
Best character in the show. Sorry, Lapis.
Okay.
Take a back
no.
seat.
Honestly,
It's a tie between Buck Dewey and Onion.
Onion? I knew you were going to say Onion.
Dude, come on. Onion has some of the best moments.
Onion, the episode with Onion, where they're like trying to trade action figures, one of the highlights of the show.
God.
Oh,
I
that's
can't believe
such a
I
good
didn't think
episode.
of that earlier.
I was looking on the wiki because I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. And it just says personal status, and I was figuring like, oh, like is he with somebody? No, it just says status alive, and I'm like, that's kind of cruel.
Dude, spoilers!
That's kind of fucked up. Spoilers.
I know.
Yeah, they kill Buck Dewey in
Poor Buck
season
Dewey.
5. Yeah, he just gets fucking
man, this ain't
decapitated. And his head says that as it falls to the ground.
One of my favorite things about Onion Trade, by the way, is how the show like one of the characters completely says how stupid the episode theme is. How Steven is trying to get an action figure, like a collectible gotcha figure. Onion has it. Steven has a device where he can duplicate anything. He starts duplicating other things to trade with Onion. Onion wants the duplicator. He wreaks havoc, and then Pro goes, "Why didn't you just trade clone the action figure?" And Steven's like, "Damn it!"
That would be way funnier if he actually swore in the show. Son of a
It
bitch!
just cuts it off.
There is an Onion episode that we're actually pretty close to. It's episode 12 of season 2. That is borderline terrifying. And I'm really
As if
excited to
the
get that.
first
I don't
Onion
remember
episode
this
wasn't
one.
borderline terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Onion
Onion has his audience.
Onion's a lad, all right. He's
Yeah. He's a mad lad.
He's sitting there, you know. Sam, if you don't like do like a freaking Yoshi head photoshopped onto like Onion or something, I'm gonna be a little disappointed right there.
Well, I don't
was
know if
putting
we
it
were-
on the screen as you were describing it.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so that's, I think, it. Anything else you guys want to say about it?
I think that's a wrap.
No, man,
That's a wrap.
That was a pretty in-depth analysis of one
Cool.
season of one show.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back with season 2 once we finish it. I'm looking through season 2 right now, and we've got a couple good ones that I'm pretty excited about. and some bad ones, but that's okay. Wait, no, actually, I don't see that many bad ones. Let's fucking go. Then we have season 3, season 4, season 5, and then the movie, and then season 6. Cool. All right.
Wait,
Thanks.
the gems are girls?